Make small wins your bad habit. At first glance, the idea of making small wins a bad habit seems paradoxical. Why would something inherently positive, achieving small victories, be considered in the same category as something negative, like a bad habit? Imagine this. What if the things we think of as bad habits, the behaviors we do on autopilot, the ones that seem so easy to fall into, could be flipped into something that works for us instead of against us? What comes to mind when you hear bad habit? Maybe it's biting your nails, scrolling endlessly on your phone, procrastinating, all those repetitive, unconscious actions that creep into your day. Now, imagine replacing those actions with something constructive. What if every day, without even thinking about it, you automatically accomplished small, meaningful steps toward your goals? That's the paradox we're exploring. What if small wins became as compulsive as bad habits? The anatomy of a bad habit. A bad habit is usually defined by two things: ease and repetition. It's something we do so often, it feels almost second nature, like brushing your teeth, but without the benefit. Bad habits form in the same manner as good ones. At the core of every habit is what psychologists call the habit loop, which consists of three key parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue acts as a trigger, signaling your brain to start the habit. The routine is the behavior you perform in response to the cue. The reward is the benefit or satisfaction you get, which reinforces your desire to repeat the action. Over time, this loop becomes so ingrained that the behavior feels automatic. What sets bad habits apart is the routine itself. A bad habit typically involves actions that provide immediate gratification but lead to negative consequences over time. For example, imagine you feel bored. That's the cue. The routine might be picking up your phone to scroll through social media, and the reward is the momentary hit of dopamine that makes you feel entertained or distracted. This loop, repeated enough times, becomes automatic, embedding the habit into your life. Bad habits stick so well because they're simple and rewarding in the short term. But that same mechanism, the habit loop, can be harnessed to build small, positive habits. Instead of focusing on the harmful routines that bad habits create, we can use the ease and consistency of the habit loop to make small wins feel just as automatic and satisfying. The role of dopamine in habits. Here's why bad habits feel so irresistible. They hijack your dopamine reward system. Dopamine is a chemical in your brain that creates a sense of pleasure and motivates you to repeat behaviors that make you feel good. When you scroll through social media, eat junk food, or binge watch a show, your brain releases a flood of dopamine, reinforcing those actions and encouraging you to do them again. But here's the kicker. Dopamine doesn't just reward the action, it rewards the anticipation. Your brain gets hooked on the promise of pleasure, even before you've indulged. That's why you reach for your phone the second you feel bored or grab a snack when you're stressed. Now, what if we used that same dopamine reward system to build small, positive habits? Each time you complete a small win, like writing one sentence in your journal or drinking a glass of water, your brain releases dopamine. This reward not only feels good, but also reinforces the behavior, making it more likely you'll do it again. Over time, as these small wins stack up, they create a cycle, beginning with a small action, to the hit of dopamine, to having motivation to repeat, ending with an automatic habit. The power of small choices. Remember, your life is a reflection of the things you do most often, not the things you do once in a while. It's not the big, flashy breakthroughs that define your life. It's the tiny decisions you make every day. Decisions so small, they feel like nothing at all. like choosing to take the stairs instead of the elevator, writing one sentence in your journal instead of saying, "I'll write tomorrow," turning off Netflix after one episode instead of binging the entire season. These aren't life-changing decisions in the moment, but repeated over time, they're everything. Here's where dopamine ties in again. Each time you make one of these small, constructive choices, you're giving your brain that same little hit. You're reinforcing the behavior in a way that feels natural, even enjoyable. Have you ever noticed how one small win, just one, makes the next thing easier? You clean your desk, and suddenly, you feel like organizing your entire space. You go for a 5-minute walk, and suddenly, 10 minutes feels doable. It's like lighting a match. That tiny spark creates a flame that spreads. Now imagine if you sparked that flame every single day. Redefining success as small wins. This concept challenges us to rethink our relationship with achievement. Often, we focus so heavily on large milestones that we overlook the significance of the small steps that lead us there. Making small wins a bad habit invites us to redefine success as something incremental and ongoing. Each small win is a moment to pause, reflect, and celebrate. Bad habits are easy because they give us instant gratification. Good habits, like exercising, journaling, or saving money, often feel like work up front. They require intention. But here's the magic of making small wins a bad habit. By keeping them small, you remove the resistance. You turn those big, intimidating goals into bite-sized actions you can't help but do. For example, say you want to get fit. Instead of committing to an hour at the gym, you do 10 push-ups. That's it. Tomorrow, another 10. That's it. Next day, same thing. It's so small it feels silly not to do it. You'll get to a point where you'll think, okay, I can do 10 for sure. Let me try 15 or 30 even. Over time, this micro-habit snowballs into a regular fitness routine. Eventually, you don't even think about it. It's as automatic as reaching for your phone. Those small wins activate your dopamine reward system. Each time you accomplish one, your brain rewards you, keeping you motivated. And because you're intently taking action towards something that is ultimately better for you, that feels good. Suddenly, securing your small wins doesn't quite feel like work. It'll feel like a natural, I just can't help it part of your day. Like a bad habit. The hidden wisdom in small wins. You see, habits are neutral. You decide their purpose. That's the funny thing about habits. They don't judge. They don't care if they're helping or hurting you. Habits simply exist. It's up to you to decide whether they serve your higher self or keep you stuck. This idea echoes Aristotle's principle that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. The problem is, we get stuck chasing the big win, the promotion, the perfect body, the dream house. And because the goal feels so big, we freeze, we procrastinate, we feel defeated before we even begin. Truth is, big wins are just small wins stacked together. That's it. That's all they are. You don't build a house in one day. You lay one brick, then another, then another. The profound beauty of small wins lies in their simplicity. They remind us that true control lies in our actions, not in the outcomes. This approach aligns beautifully with the Stoic philosophy of focusing on what is within our control. The Stoics believed that we cannot control outcomes, but we can control our actions and choices. Small wins embody this principle. They remind us that lasting change is not about grand gestures, but about the tiny, deliberate actions we take daily. These small, intentional steps anchor us in the present moment, guiding us toward a future shaped by our consistent effort. The true power of small wins lies in their quiet, unassuming nature. They are not flashy or dramatic, yet they carry a strength that steadily builds over time. Each small win whispers, "You are capable, you are growing." They remind us that greatness is not an event, it is a process. By focusing on what we can do today, we release the need to control outcomes and instead find peace in the act of showing up. This idea also reflects the Taoist principle of duality, the yin within the yang and vice versa. In making small wins a bad habit, we embrace the relentless energy of habits traditionally deemed negative and transform it into a force for good. The same energy that drives mindless behaviors can fuel mindful growth when directed with intention. This duality is a reminder that every small win is both ordinary and extraordinary, a single drop in the ocean that creates ripples far beyond its size. Small wins also teach us the art of letting go of the need for perfection and finding joy in progress. They remind us that success isn't measured by how much we accomplish at once, but by the intention and consistency behind each step we take. Every small action becomes a quiet victory, a building block for something greater. By focusing on these small, meaningful efforts, we begin to trust the process, discovering that the journey itself carries as much significance as the destination. Over time, these small wins don't just change what we do, they reshape who we are at our core. Aren't bad habits just rituals gone astray? What if we reclaimed that energy and realigned it toward growth? The challenge to you. What if the secret to transforming your life isn't about grand gestures, but about treating success like brushing your teeth? Boring, automatic, relentless. Can you see how small wins, done daily, could quietly build a mountain of achievement? How would your life change if you didn't have to think about improving, you just did it, like clockwork? So here's my challenge. What's one tiny win you can create today? Something so small, it feels silly not to do it. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water when you wake up, or writing just 3 words in a journal. Whatever it is, do it. Do it today, do it tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Before you know it, it'll be something you do without even thinking. It'll become a habit, a bad habit, but this time, one that changes your life for the better. It's not the size of the step that matters, it's that you keep stepping. Small wins don't just help you reach your goals, they change who you are. Each time you show up, no matter how small, you're rewriting your story. You're telling yourself, I am someone who takes action. I am someone who grows. I am someone who wins. The life you envision isn't created in a single moment. It's crafted through the steady rhythm of showing up every day. Each of these small wins draw you closer to that lifestyle that you desire. Make small wins a habit. Make them a bad habit. I can't wait to see you win.